I think
Mind if I record this real quick? I just hit record real quick because I was like, I would love to have this.
got it.
So I'm writing as fast as I
You're,
can.
that's fine. He had this luncheon, and he, I believe, identified it as like a mentor luncheon. And he had there with him people who had been important to his journey, either in his life as a whole or in his work as a realtor. And he had both Phil and me there. And I know how close the two of them were from Phil's time here in the 70s. He revered him, and rightly so. But he also made me feel very welcome, and I'm thinking, I can't be your mentor. But he went on to say things which I couldn't now relate to you, but he was expressing genuine gratitude and love, and I really appreciated that. And then I got to witness him and your mom, but with him concerned for and trying to care for her when that grew beyond his reach.
Yeah.
And
You didn't know, you didn't realize it was, right?
No, he didn't. So
Yeah.
he redoubled his efforts,
Yeah.
and it's still like I still can't flap my arms and fly, but if I try hard enough. But he was his faithfulness in love for her was such a presence. And with your brother's loss, both his initial disappearance and then the long slog of grief that was present until he was found, and then being a part of organizing something to do right there and to scatter the ashes where Michael would have wanted to be. I just there were so many moments, so many episodes where I saw him sort of rise to the moment, and when other people might either have collapsed or simply just not known what to do or how to be that, and he did far better than anyone would have the ability to expect. But then I thought too, when it became clear, the move to the Bay Area to be nearer to you guys, it seemed like he got a second wind.
He did.
It seemed to me, and again, judging from email or Facebook posts or what have you, he had a life there.
Oh yeah.
And it was a source of joy for him. And it was partly being a grandpa, and it was partly being a dad, and then he had a new relationship come into his life, and that, like, he was I don't know how old when he moved up to
79.
79.
No, 80. Yeah.
He wasn't done.
No.
And so he not only has, it's not just like a commendation to him, but to express just genuine awe and wonder at someone who kept finding that some of his best days were still ahead of him.
Yes.
It's not like the things that were in the past weren't precious to him, but he was still living in the present and in the near future. And a lot of people don't have that posture.
Yeah. He had a poster, started as a card, kind of turned into a poster. And he had it actually on his, I think it was his 80th or the 85th birthday cake, was "The best is yet to come."
Yeah.
When he told
and there are people his age and older who still know that some of their best days are ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who are 20 who know that the best days of their life are behind them, and both might be right. Mm-hmm. It really is a matter of posture than of experience or being realistic.
Yeah.
He was still embracing good things in the future.
Right. When he turned 69, he took up flying. And I was like, Dad, now I know you're going to live forever. Because you just hit your midlife crisis at 69.
Right, at 69. So, yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Wait,
Well
no,
done.
really, he was terrible at it. But
Oh, yeah.
he never got his bike license, but he kept trying. Yeah, Andreas is here. He's like, thank God.
And just little things are coming to my mind. His childhood background upbringing was Jewish, was it not?
Yes. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had forgotten that.
Yeah, like very deep in the faith, very like
yeah.
participating
So
every week. It wasn't culturally.
Right. So was it your mom? Was it coming to know her? What do you think?
Yeah, it was. So when they got married, they believed that they needed to have one faith in the household. And they both were kind of like, I could give it up. I really kind of love it. And then finally my mom was like, I can't give up Christmas and Easter. And so my dad did it for her.
Wow.
And it, it was a very big deal.
Yeah. Oh, it would be.
Yeah.
The reason that thought came to me was, I think the first year I was here, we had something that I won't do anymore, which is a Passover Seder
yeah.
at the church. I will happily have a rabbi come and lead a Passover Seder, but that's not a Christian thing for me to lead. That's like the worst form of cultural appropriation.
It's one of them.
Yeah, it's way up there. And Jewish congregations and rabbis are now asking churches, please don't do that. We can commemorate the Last Supper, but to do it in the context of a Seder is really, that's more than borrowing.
Right.
But we did it. It was already something that existed. I was the new person and I wanted to participate in what was the tradition. And afterwards, your dad came to me and said, some of the pronunciations were not, what I would have said. And if you want to work on that, I would be glad to help you. Mm-hmm. And he didn't say that was offensive.
He probably also wasn't offended.
No, maybe not. But he found a way to engage positively in making something better. Mm-hmm. And by the time the next year rolled around, I was like, I don't think we want to be doing this. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah. I like that. Engage positively in making something better. That's like, if he was going to have a headstone, that would be his headstone.
Yeah.
Certainly his legacy.
One of the things that we sometimes do by way of memorials here is, there's going to be a lot of talking in the service, whether it's prayers or scripture or sermon, remembrances, what have you, a lot of words. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that we try to do is to have at least one, but even a couple of physical items, tangible objects that help to bring the life of that person present. And I think, for example, I knew a couple many years ago who they were antiquers, and they went all over Southern Ontario, Canada, weekends and festivals and all that stuff. And they did antiques, and they had this sign for the two of them, husband and wife, and we had that sign up at the front, along with their photo and some flowers. We had that sign because so many people knew them through that. Mm-hmm. Another dear friend passed away, 20 years ago or more, was a physician in the 1930s, was the director of public health in Wyoming in like 1934. And we had her black medical kit bag, just that leather bag. Yes. On the table. And I didn't need to say anything about it because it spoke for itself. Mm-hmm. but there might be, I don't know what your access to such might be, but if there were something that sort of called your dad to mind.
I have his wedding ring with my mom.
Yeah. Let some visual stuff speak, and because there will be people who will see that, and it will bring him back. It will bring them and him in connection.
You know, in Japanese things, what they do is like, so the reason why you never ever go pass something from chopstick to chopstick is because that's what you do at a funeral or a service, is that you actually, the person's cremated, the family comes together and you pass the bones from chopstick to chopstick so that everybody can really engage with
the death,
with the bones, with the person, with the loss, you know, and with each other. So I was thinking we could even like pass his ring around. Something like that. That would be not with chopsticks. It would go everywhere.
Right. Out the window. There isn't an Eric Randall real estate sign anywhere around that you know of, is there?
I will look for,
and I know you're on the other side of the world. The last place he lived was, you know, the other South Bay. Right. Are things in storage, or did they get dealt with at the time? How did you guys manage all of that? Jesus.
Well, it wasn't really optimal. Dad was a little mad that I had moved. I mean, we were very close still and together, right? But he was kind of mad that I had moved, and I think that was like that little bit of that anger stuck with it, so that he got rid of everything.
Oh.
Old pictures. He said I didn't want it.
Michelle, you didn't move.
But I know it's fine. It's just I'm just trying to keep forgiving him.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. Because
those were yours.
I don't have anything anymore.
Yeah, those were yours.
Or my kids.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? We're kind of cut off from. Yeah. So also like the end of my family, the family I grew up with. Yeah. People are always like, "Oh no, you have your family." I'm like, "Yes, of course I do, and I love them."
Yeah.
But my family of origin.
Yeah.
Is over.
So this is not the same thing. I don't want to suggest equivalence here, but there were when my dad passed away, it had been 14 years after my mom died, and he had downscaled from one house in Escondido to another, rented from my sister, sold her the larger house, and there was some kind of yard sale thing that happened, and I went there and picked up a couple, like one old painting, a watercolor from somebody that my grandparents knew. I remembered it from their house. Sorry. And but like that was all. Then when he had passed away, I assumed that, you know, the kitchen had come with him to the kitchen. And when I started working at the Julian Cafe when I was 13, 14 years old, one of the first things I did was I bought my mom a stoneware, like, crock pot.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I would kind of like to have that.
Mm-hmm.
It was gone. Like, and there were two or three other things like that. It was like, I don't really want anything, but this is important to me just for the story that it's, oh no, it's gone. And it's like, and so I was asking, you know, my sister who was in Escondido, she said, I think all that stuff went at that yard sale. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, are you kidding me? Like that, again, that's like, that was the household.
Right. Yeah.
I do still have some photos. I was glad for that, but yeah.
I found I do have some photos, but And so I asked a staff member, because I don't, my Korean's not good enough to take them and like be like digitized so I can make a book out of them. And I handed her the box. I said, this is all the pictures that I have. And she took it and she's like, it's such a small box.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I have some. And
But also you didn't move. Moving is, you know, we've always wanted to live in Wyoming. We're going there. You know, you guys, you'd had previous invitation, and you know, maybe you delayed going earlier in order to be present him. You didn't move. That's not what happened.
I didn't abandon him, that's for sure.
No. That makes it sound much different from what it really was.
But what he felt was what he felt.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
So, and I can respect that. That was.
He was hurt. He was wounded.
He's with us, and then we take off, right? Like, I mean, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And and I think it was as he got like older, and so he didn't have dementia stuff, but he had kidney failure, and so that leads to dementia like
symptoms, right?
Symptoms, because the brain, the blood's dirty, right? And so I think it led to more of the thought distortions.
Yeah. Remind me of the name of his partner in those later years.
Joyce.
Joyce, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I met her.
You would know if you did. She was a personality.
And did she predecease him?
No, she did
Okay.
not. But she had already kind of moved over to the memory ward or memory section of where they lived. So she also didn't like post remember him either. So
Yeah.
So she got, kind of a clean slate. She didn't have to grieve too much, I guess.
Right. Well, like the swans. Yeah. Like if you don't know that you have this person in your life, then they're just gone.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I think she with her daughter, she's like, what's this picture of this guy? Like, you know. But the daughter remembers, right? Everything. So, but so she died a year ago. I think about a year ago, year and a half.
Yeah. Oh.
Mm-hmm. Close to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to have a very inappropriate.
How many folks do you anticipate are going to be present for this time that you're here?
So it's a weekend. I got an Airbnb in Redondo Beach, and there'll be like 11 people staying there. So everybody from out of town or further away in Southern California is staying there. Right. Then I've got on the Vincent side, Steve's family, and they will. They're not sure if they can come because of their work schedules, but hopefully they will. And then and then on my dad's side, I've got his whole family. So I'm thinking like invite like the Vincent side on Saturday, and then the Frandon side on Sunday, out of really purely selfish reasons that I want to talk with everybody.
That's fair. Yeah.
I want to, absolutely unequivocally talk with absolutely everybody there, and I want to visit because I don't know when we're coming back as a family next.
Right.
I haven't seen them.
Well,
in almost
years.
Yeah. Like almost 10. I mean, I think my uncle died my mom died 10 years ago. My uncle died 6 weeks later. I saw kind of them at their dad's funeral. I don't know when I've seen them really since. Yeah. And so it's been a decade. And it's not like it's gonna, we were all living in California and it was 10 years. So
yes.
you know, so I kind of think like this is a milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, does Meredith count on the Vincent side of the family?
I think I'm gonna slip Meredith in on the Brandon side.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So I think her kids will be invited both days.
it appears to me like she's doing good.
She is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she passed law school, valedictorian of her class, she passed the bar. You know, of course, there's an issue with getting permitted to the bar. And so she has to do a lot of references for that. And she was really like struggling with getting that part done. But she
I wrote one.
did great. She
Yeah.
finally did. Like at some point, she's like, you know, could you push me? And then when I pushed her, she's like, I don't want this. Like, I'm like, yeah, you don't talk
not like that. Yeah.
But I was down for a wedding in I went over for a wedding at the beginning of March, and I stayed with her for a few days.
Good.
It was good to reconnect. So, and then I got a chance to really meet her kids because I hadn't.
Yeah.
Since
They're huge. They're like adults now.
Oh my God. Yeah, totally. Right?
She shared a picture of Annie the other day. I was like, what?
That's
like
a woman.
I reasonably adjusted to the boys being older, but that was not expected on my part.
Wait till you meet Toby.
Yeah, well, the same thing.
Yeah, he's the tallest member of the family.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he's kind of built like Michael, trimmer, but kind of built like Michael, like, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask on a totally different front, how are things going for you guys there with COVID these days?
Everything's really kind of opening up. We still wear masks indoors, but outdoors it's not required anymore, but most people still wear them. We don't. We're like, we're done. But no, everything's kind of approaching whatever normal is.
Yeah.
I won't call it the new normal. I'm not sure how much things changed, but we're, you know, it's
well, less lethal is better.
Less lethal, like breathing the air,
yeah,
you know, confidently is a nice feeling.
Yeah. So we're in worship, those of us who are up at the front are pretty much wearing masks, although the choir, it's optional for everybody.
Right.
But the rates have gone up again with the most recent Omicron subvariant, but it's less lethal. I mean, it in itself it is. And, you know, for those of us who are vaccinated, boosted, and double boosted for lots, you know, I'm not living in fear. Right. I mask when I'm doing pastoral visiting because I am a vector.
Right.
You know, I don't want to bring it. I don't want to pick it up and give it to somebody else either.
Well, and Myra also, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. But she's in a mask all day long, you know, like a full,
right?
Yes. But she's in the full N95 with the back strap, and she cannot wait to get it off. I usually wear mine, you know, back and forth from the car to my office because it's easier than carrying it. You know, it's like,
right.
I don't feel it's quite as imposed upon as she does, but I would say that it's loosening here as well. And it may be that we'll have a bump in the next couple of weeks and be inviting people to mask again for a little while. But even back east where it's been up again, it's now trending down. So I think we'll be okay. You know, somebody I play basketball with was positive on Tuesday when they went in for a appendectomy, but he didn't really play on Saturday because he had a twinge in his side. He thought he'd pulled a muscle. Well, that was not what it was.
Right.
But he reported to us, here's, you know, and I sent the word out, but, you know, nobody was with him in any close contact at all. He warmed up and realized he couldn't play and left. You know, if we'd played for an hour, that might have been a different deal. But as Tira said, it's out there, you know, if you're in a gathering of people, it's out there. So,
Right.
um,
We got, so Andreas and I are 5 times vaccinated. We got fully vaccinated in the US before vaccines were available here. We got
right,
fully vaccinated here so we could fit in the system.
right.
And we've been boosted here. So we still fit in the system. And the day after we got our boosted, our 5th shot, Andreas tested positive.
Which obviously can happen, but also it's
Yeah.
like, well, but that's why we're vaccinated, is because you're gonna get, and then people say, well, so this proves it doesn't work. It's like, no,
We're
the
not
fact that you're
dead.
not hospitalized proves it works.
Exactly.
Dope.
Right.
Yeah.
I am so glad that we didn't have to go through the social breakdown, the
Yeah.
crisis, the failure of relationships
Basic civility.
and humanity and civility that you guys had to.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've also been very grateful to be very far away from some friends.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't have to deal with that part of you.
And
we
that
all
came
know now. Sorry.
right, but that came across in your Facebook life early on, was like, here we are, people are restricting themselves, there is this level of lockdown and we're actually safe,
right.
And
it wasn't, we were never locked down, things never closed, restaurants never closed, we could always get whatever we wanted whenever we wanted it.
wow.
There was never a shortage of anything in the grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, I even was like, I'm ready for them to lock us down. Like I had like our canned food in our freezer full and stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't worried about
It didn't
those.
happen.
And it never happened. So now we're like, hey, this is really old, guys. We gotta work through it. Yeah. Unfortunately, so I did this on my personal account. So I have,
And you need to go.
No, we have like 2 minutes left.
Okay.
We can restart. But I also know that you've worked a full day and I'm so grateful for this time.
I need to go do the preschool graduation prayer in a little bit. It's the 3rd of their 3 nights of graduations. One of the changes here is we have to graduation on 3 nights rather than 1, so that the room has like 60 people in it rather than 240.
Right.
And that seems like, yeah. So
I was actually thinking a lot about the little engine that could today, this morning. And I was thinking about how formative that story is for really all US children.
Yeah.
Right? We all heard it. Like,
yeah, I was 5
during our childhood.
I can picture it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michelle, fun. Thank you.
Well, and please let me know how things are headed. And if there's a way that I can be helpful, I'll do so, but I will reach out to Peggy and start talking about the flowers and the bulletin, and I'll start talking to the folks who'll be helpful on that Sunday to know, to look forward to your being here.
Great, thank you so much. And then I'll look on I think you have on the website, the directory, I'll look for Peggy and I'll email her.
Excellent, all right.
Thanks so much. Please tell
love you and your family.
Love you too. Okay.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.